The fear of being left without money is one of humanity's oldest fears. It's not about numbers in a bank account, not about economics, and not even about currency exchange rates. It's about the fear of losing a sense of safety, of losing control, of finding yourself in a world where there's no protection. It's not just anxiety about the future, it's a deeper cry of the soul. What if I can't survive? But here's the paradox. This very fear often robs us of the ability to truly live. We tell ourselves that money means freedom. But for many, money becomes a cage, invisible, quiet, and yet completely confining. Every thought, every decision, every emotion is measured against the same anxious question: what if it's not enough? This fear narrows the horizon of life. You stop seeing possibilities and start seeing only risks. You stop creating, because creation requires uncertainty. You stop enjoying, because pleasure feels unsafe when you don't know what tomorrow will bring. To stop fearing the loss of money, you must first realize that this fear isn't about money itself. It's about losing control. Money only mirrors how much we trust life and ourselves. When that trust is missing, even full bank accounts can't bring peace. People who have enough still wake up at night, anxious for no reason, because the fear doesn't live in the wallet, it lives in the mind. The first truth is this: real safety doesn't start with money, it starts with inner stability. True confidence isn't the belief that you've prepared for everything. It's the quiet knowing that you'll handle whatever comes. When you trust your own ability to rebuild, the fear of collapse fades. But when your sense of security depends entirely on the external, on income, savings, approval, you remain fragile no matter how much you have. The human psyche doesn't fear money, it fears the unknown. It wants predictability. And to reduce this fear, you don't need perfect control, you need to restore your sense of agency. Control creates tension, because no one can hold everything together forever. But agency, the sense that you can act, adapt, and respond, that's where calm begins. One of the most powerful ways to reduce fear is to look directly at facts. The anxious mind loves to exaggerate. It paints catastrophic pictures that rarely match reality. When panic arises, ask yourself, what exactly am I afraid of losing? And what's the worst that could realistically happen? Write it down. You'll often see that even the worst-case scenario isn't fatal. What we truly fear isn't poverty, it's helplessness. But helplessness isn't a fact, it's a feeling, and feelings can change. When you realize that you can influence at least something, even one small thing, the fear begins to dissolve. You don't need to build an empire overnight. You just need one deliberate action: plan, calculate, learn, create a buffer, expand a skill. Money doesn't flow where there's panic, it flows where there's energy, clarity, and movement. But the emotional layer runs deeper. Fear of being broke often connects to early experiences. Maybe you grew up hearing things like, money doesn't grow on trees, life is hard, without money, you're nothing, or rich people can't be trusted. Those phrases become silent beliefs that run your decisions years later. So every time your finances dip, your mind doesn't just worry, it replays an old memory of danger. To overcome that, you need to rewrite the internal program, not just through affirmations, but through lived experience. If you fear loss, allow yourself to spend a small, meaningful amount on something that brings joy. Not recklessly, but intentionally, to remind yourself that money doesn't control you. If you fear instability, create daily rituals that symbolize inner steadiness: journaling, meditation, gratitude. The brain believes repetition more than words. Each act of calm reprograms your nervous system toward trust. Money doesn't disappear randomly. It slips away where fear rules. Fear creates chaos, and chaos makes us irrational. We cling, we rush, we lose focus. But clarity comes with calmness. When the mind is still, decisions become precise. You stop reacting and start choosing. To stop fearing the loss of money means to stop measuring your worth by your wealth. Money is a tool, a form of energy, a medium of exchange, not a reflection of your value. When your sense of self depends on the external, you're always one fluctuation away from anxiety. But when it comes from within, from your ability to create, to adapt, to connect, you become free. Ask yourself, what do I expect money to give me that I can't give myself? The answers might surprise you: confidence, peace, respect, love, importance. But every one of these can grow without money. Money only amplifies what already exists. It can't fill what's missing. If you cultivate self-worth, trust, and meaning, no financial change can truly shake you. Gratitude is another antidote to fear. Fear looks ahead. Gratitude looks around. It reminds you that there is already enough to take the next step. Abundance isn't about a number. It's a state of consciousness. When you feel enough, life stops leaking energy into anxiety. In today's fast, uncertain world, the fear of financial collapse feels almost normal. But beneath it lies a deeper existential fear, the fear of not surviving, not being seen, not being enough. Yet life isn't measured in digits, it's measured in breath, presence, connection. True wealth is not in possessions but in your ability to be fully alive. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop clinging to money as your only source of safety, money begins to return. Fear blocks flow, calm restores it. Money loves clarity. It moves toward grounded energy, not panic. When you shift from fear to trust, opportunities appear, not magically, but because your perception expands. To stop fearing the loss of money means to shift from a survival mindset to a trust mindset. It doesn't mean irresponsibility, it means presence. You still plan, you still act, but no longer from anxiety. You act from awareness. You realize that uncertainty is inevitable, but helplessness isn't. Everything that truly matters, love, respect, connection, purpose, cannot be bought. Money can support those things, but it cannot replace them. And when you stop seeing money as the foundation of your existence, you begin to feel something far stronger: freedom. Because in the end, the most reliable capital isn't in your account. It's in you. In your adaptability, your creativity, your inner peace. You are your own security. And when that realization settles, the fear dissolves. Not because life has become perfectly safe, but because you've stopped living as if disaster is always one step away. You've started living. And that, finally, is enough.